All right, good Monday morning or Sunday night or Tuesday afternoon if you live somewhere totally bonkers. Who we got on the call today? Let's say hello in the chat once you arrive. Hello, Brand. You were first to post today. Congratulations. Hey, John. Hey, Michael. All right, great stuff. So I normally start with a quick Bitcoin thing, and this will be the quickest Bitcoin thing that I've ever done. Here's
Yeah, right.
I'm just bored. I'm at that point now where I'm just like, oh fucking hell. But that's is what it is.
Yep.
And that's about as technical as I'm getting this morning. You know, we can I like
So what was the technical advice? Nothing, like that's what it is. There's nothing to do.
fuck all. Get drunk, get stoned, whatever you want to do. Just go and do something else other than look at this nonsense. This is the drive yourself, absolutely insane nonsense. So I don't know. I don't want to judge myself, but I've a pretty good ability to shut off from things, just to be like, oh, fuck it, and walk away from things, you know. And the opposite side of that is the type of messages that I get that are speculative FUD messages, and those are 100-fold right now. Is it over? Has crypto finished? Blah 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 blah. And the bit that I can never get people who send these messages to me to understand is that they are the crypto market.
Correct.
This is the thing. This is the thing you've got to understand. If you're sat there going, this is all shit, crypto's no good, blah, blah, blah. Well, you're not alone. You are the crypto market. And those feelings that have nothing to do with mathematical trading, those feelings spread into the market. People take their money out when they should be holding. People do all kinds of batshit crazy things because of emotions. And a lot of those emotions start from thinking about negative things and then posting about negative things. Did anybody want the Bybit hack to happen? No, of course we didn't. Does it still show that there's vulnerabilities in crypto? Yes, of course it does. Does it mean that we've turned the ignition key from on to off and that's it? Let's all go home. Crypto's finished. It's, you know, it's just finished, if you know what I mean. Like, people can get really extreme in moments of extreme stress, and a lot of extreme stress comes from if you've got too big a position in retardio, and unlike Scott, who can weather a $500,000 position and not really give a fuck that he's $400,000 down on it and something like retardio, for another person that's a throw yourself off the bridge in front of a big truck type of moment, you know. So that's why I say that if you're feeling stressed, if you're or whatever, if you know what I mean, this is the time to take some time off. You know, it's like staring at the chart, scalping on the 1 minute chart. Maybe that is for you, but for me, this is a time where you got to take your hands off the wheel, relax, think about the positions that you've already got, watch the daily update videos and Maurizio and see if there's any new positions that you want to take. Just the last thing from me, then I hand over to you. Yeah, I'm just reading Michael's comment. Michael says, I'm shocked the Bybit thing didn't create more waves, but that's a good thing. Yeah, I totally agree with you, Michael. Like, crypto took it really well. And as Maurizio said just before we were coming on air, it shows a bit of maturity in the crypto market. But yeah. So where are you with everything, Maurizio?
Mate, I think we are in a great position, despite the fact, because the sentiment, it is a really good thing in the crypto, but the sentiment usually comes from what we call retail traders, right? Retail traders, you have different kinds. You have the ones that have experience, or you have, people that have been looking at the market, they still have, you know, pretty much average account. Let's talk about 100K to 100K to trade with. And that's still considered as a retail market, right? You do have retail market as well for people. I don't know in terms of how many people have big portfolios here, or but usually when you think about crypto, you know, people start with 10K or even less, 1K, trying to making it up. So obviously, you know, depends on where the sentiment comes from, is that you have to size. And a lot of the people that are talking about crypto is over and stuff like that is people, retail traders that with small accounts. All right. So that doesn't weigh in much in terms of what it is. However, that weighs in into the sentiment that what happens with crypto. You know, because when big traders comes in and start buying, that's they're going to be their liquidity. All right, I'm gonna the exit liquidity. You know, the guys that actually scared to enter into the market at the moment because they think that everything is over, right? More than likely they're going to pile in on FOMO down the road, right? So we're gonna talk about a little bit of what I think. So I think we are at the stage that is a very interesting. Why? I'm gonna go into some metrics, and I think we are on the verge of probably small rally. You know what I mean? Like we're gonna see a little bit of relief. You can call it a relief rally or a small rally that we might capitalize on. I don't think we might not enter in bull market yet until we have Trump, you know, lining up with the whole reserve and things like that. So that's kind of where I'm at, big picture, right? So yeah, it's an interesting. Before I start, I just wanna ask you guys, how many of you are like, let's do a sentiment here. Let's do a question. How many of you are tired of crypto at the moment, or you just say fuck crypto? How many of you are at that stage?
This is interesting. Actually, I might have a supplemental question just to add on to.
No. Me, yeah, we have one there. Bored, yep.
Oh,
We have a couple, right? Definitely tired, yes. Frustrated, but patient. All right, that's interesting. How many of you that said no have been in this group for a while, or have some experience already?
nice.
Okay, that's an interesting one, and that's all right. Interesting. Oh, interesting. All right, check this out. So usually, you know, and this is kind of what you have in the crypto space. And then if you've been with us for a while, or you've been following Scott for a while, you know, you go through these cycles, man, and it's frustrated as, but it is what it is. You cannot actually force the market. What a good trader, someone that invests, or long-term trader, whatever, someone that actually can read the market and probably, you know, have that long-term view of where things are getting. And this shows that obviously the people that are still interested, that comes to the calls, that still they're looking, they know that at some point crypto is going to reach that bottom, right? When is it going to be? Who knows? But I think we're pretty close to it. Let me show you why. Okay, let's just start with the Bybit hack. Okay, so let me just share my screen because I have something very interesting to show you. It's interesting. How many of you as well? I just want to ask you, how many of you got FTX PTSD? By the way, I was one of the ones affected on the FTX heavily on the FTX a couple of years ago. But how many of you actually went through that period, the FTX period? Yep. Okay. All right. Perfect. So some of you witnessed it, some of you lived it. So obviously I lived it and had a good amount of capital there, and you know, caught us by surprise. Obviously, that wasn't a hack. FTX was a scam in a way, right? You know what I mean? Like, and obviously was affected by this guy leveraging over his position. So it's one of those things that is not relatable to this. But coming back to what happened with Bybit, how many of you, saw the Bybit and going back with the FTX or PTSD thing? Not many. How many of you had money in Bybit and trying to take your money out of Bybit? All right. So in terms of Bybit, obviously Bybit is the second biggest exchange at the moment in terms of volume for PEPs. Okay, so it's a big thing. Okay, this is a big thing that happened on Bybit. So the interesting thing is a lot of people start getting money out of it, and that's kind of when you start getting the FUD, right? And people get money out of it, getting delays, of course, because you know the more transactions are in, the more and a bunch of thing triggers from that. In that note, I'm going to show you what I'm looking for. So do you guys see my screen now?
We can.
All right. So first of all, obviously, when the Bybit situation happened, the first thing, essentially, because we do have our FinRep, a lot of our customers' FinRep accounts are in Bybit, and I just want to reiterate, doesn't matter how big of exchange it is, there is still third-party risk, which is this exchange getting hacked, exchange getting closed down for some all these other reasons, things like that. But essentially, they started identifying there is this platform that I've been showing you guys on and off. I use it quite often, and it's called Arkham. And Arkham can actually track pretty much every single exchange, wallet, transactions, anything that you can think of, right? It's a very sophisticated sort of piece of on-chain software that you can actually use. It's free. And essentially what you can actually find on Bybit, right, is the real sort of holdings, okay? So this is real stuff. The positive thing on-chain right now is after the FTX collapse, all the exchanges sort of start publicly providing the wallets. So you can track all the wallets or their holdings, everything, right? So obviously, this gives you a little bit, this is when I mentioned to Ian this morning that now crypto is a little bit more mature on that regard, because none of this existed prior FTX. So after the FTX fiasco, a lot of the exchanges actually implemented this. You can actually go into every single exchange, Binance, KuCoin, Bybit, OKX, and you can track their wallets. They publicly provide this. And obviously, Arkham, you can actually just track every single asset, okay? What's the interesting thing on this, that all the exchanges are pretty, they actually got together in a way, and they actually help each other out, which is a very interesting thing to see on the crypto market. And they started to help Bybit tracking Sun, this guy, what is it? The guy from TRX, his name? I don't remember. They started sort of tracking it down, helping Bybit to actually, make sure that it's not going to affect the match. So what they started doing, you can actually start tracking all the assets, right? And you can actually have all the holdings by chain here. So you can actually see how much money they're holding, right? You can actually see the whole portfolio. You can actually see the token balances history, this is the one that I'm going to show you. And this is why I think we could be on the verge of a little bit of a rally, because events like this, it was actually was 1.5 billion. I think this was stolen, and you can actually see on the tokens balance history, right? A massive amount of spike. Let me just make this bigger. I'm wiggly, okay? So people withdrawing stuff, withdrawing Bitcoin, you can actually track by any asset. Obviously, with Ethereum here, you can actually see this spike down, right? Bang. Okay, so on the 22nd, then this definitely was the withdraw, right? The hack. But the interesting thing is now they start buying back. Okay, they start buying back whatever they lost, and they're doing it through different mechanisms, and we can track. The interesting with this type of software, you can actually track what they're doing in terms of wallets buying, and if you analyze the inflows and the outflows of every single thing here. I don't gonna go into the details, but we can actually see that that Bybit started to buy a lot of the Ethereum that they lost, and they do it hedging as well in terms of futures, and they start buying spots, so they start doing it, a lot of different things on their exchange, which generates volatility. Okay.
Hey, Mauricio. People are screaming that they can't see your screen. Now I can see your screen, but what are you talking about right now?
Interesting. Showing the Arkham. Sorry.
So we were just looking at that list.
Okay. All right. My bad. That was my notes. My notes. All right. Now, can you see my screen now?
Well, we could see it before. Maybe you want to ask us if we can see what you want us to see.
My apologies. I
When you
didn't have the chat up yet.
Yes, because I could see your notes.
Oh man, that was all my notes.
We
for
are
this
looking
morning.
at
Anyway.
Bybit.
Okay. Anyway. All right. At least you see my notes. Just good, man. Okay. So you know what I'm talking about. So, okay. Now, can you see the Arkham dashboard?
Yeah, we're just looking at the Bybit. Yeah, we can. Yeah.
All right. Sweet. Okay. Let's start all over again. My bad, guys. My apologies. And I didn't have my chat here. I'm just in my laptop only. All right. Sweet. All right. So Arkham. Let's go back to this platform, which I think is great. Let me just go back to balance history and everything. What I can do, what I was showing you guys is that within Arkham, you can actually measure everything of any exchange, right? The fact that obviously that now is public, right? Bybit or Binance or anything, right? Then Arkham connects and tracks every single asset and every single transaction that happens on chain. Obviously, you can only track things that happens on chain. You cannot actually track things that are inside the platform itself. But what happens with Bybit is that you can still see all their holdings. Okay, so you can actually see all the holdings, everything that they hold shows in here in terms of value, in terms of how many tokens, in terms of the amount of coins or whatever they hold. The interesting thing, and what I was showing you here, is the token balance history. When you go to token balance history, I would definitely start worried when you start seeing liquidity coming off the exchange, outflow, which obviously by this time, but when events like this happen, you're going to see a spike down. So on the 22nd, a lot of people holding Bitcoin started getting their Bitcoin out of the exchange. I'm going to talk a little bit about the exchange security and things like that. How do you actually split your funds, and good practices around it. But the interesting thing that I wanted to show you is people are taking out, withdrawing Bitcoin. Is this finished yet? Who knows? We'll find out tomorrow, right? But in terms of Ethereum, right, I can actually see that they started buying back Ethereum. Okay, after the hack, they started buying back. So Bybit was pretty quick in actually making up for the hole, right? That's actually very interesting price action when these things happen, of why the market is a little bit more mature on that regard. But that doesn't excuse the fact that we still have Ethereum that has been stolen, right? Outside, right? So anyone, the only way there's many ways to actually dump that Ethereum, but there's a bunch of Ethereum out there that it could actually be sold. Okay, and that could affect the market. So I'm conscious of that as well. So something that you have to be a little bit more in the mix. Okay, so this is interesting, something that I follow. You can actually do it for any exchange, and you can actually see the real funds that they have in here. Obviously, we did not have these tools prior FTX. Okay, so I highly encourage, like, if you're really into on-chain metrics and stuff like that, I use this platform. Like, this thing is amazing, man. Like, they have a lot of different dashboards that you can actually track. You can actually create alerts, things like that. So obviously, when exchanges go below a level, whatever, you take your money out and things like that. So these tools didn't exist before, man. So that actually shows the level of maturity that you have on crypto at the moment, right? And the fact that we have now ETFs is a different market. So even though there is a lot of shit out there, right? A lot of new projects that are actually just pump and dump, right? There is a still good future for this, right? I don't think it's over from that perspective. Okay, so I'm just sort of there's a good question. Should I sell my ETH right now? Let's go through it. So here's my take. Okay, so the fact that Bybit came down pretty quick and started buying back whatever they lost, right? Because they lost that ETH and they need to make it back. They do have profits. Bybit's a pretty profitable business, man. Like, and if you take it from the from like all the balance histories, this is their balance history, okay, in terms of holders. They're talking about 24 billion, you know, on holdings at the moment. Their hack is only 1.5 billion, which is, yeah, it's a lot of money, but in terms of the size of what they hold, I don't think they're going to be hugely affected. You know what I mean? Obviously, it's going to make a hole in their P&L for sure. But the fact that they came back quick, exchanges helped out, they're doing OTC deals dramatically to actually doing this. I think that could be you know, something that is holding back pretty good. Okay, so where am I with this at the moment? So let me just show you the chart. Let's give me 1 second. All right, here. Okay, so let's go through the charts and the reaction, right? So one thing is the on-chain stuff, but the other aspect is the price action, the one that we like to follow, the like that we like to see if there is price reaction on those levels, right? So if we go and have a look at the Ethereum chart, right? So can you see my screen? Just we're looking at the Ethereum chart. Can you guys see my screen?
We can.
Perfect. Okay. So at the moment, right, we do have that Ethereum is holding. Like, the hack actually happened on the 22nd, give it or take, around these 2 days, right? Let me just make this a little bit bigger. But the fact that this is not dropping, why it's not dropping? Why do you guys think this is not dropping? Even though we have a hack, even though we have Bitcoin, even though we have something very like something negative in the market, why do you guys don't think this is not dropping? Right. So we have several answers here. The fact that this is not dropping is because there's no sellers. All right. Like, if the hack, let's say, took the Ethereum and actually sell it in the market, that generates a dump. Okay. A dump generates when people close their positions. However, we could see on the alt, like if we go to total 3, right? We did see a little bit of a spike down, right? Why? Because think about it from the Bybit perspective that you're trading futures or Binance or any exchange. In order to take your money out, you need to close your positions, okay? Let's say institutions that are actually, you know, trading different strategies or hedging with futures market or anything, if they need to get out of Bybit, in order to get their money out, they need to close any futures, any perpetual futures positions. Otherwise, they will not be able to get the money out. Okay, so I'm actually surprised that we did not have a huge dump here, because those news are not good news, right? But still, from the total trade perspective, this thing looks pretty solid. Like, it looks pretty good. So that, I'm not saying that this is going to hold on these levels, but there is a highly likelihood that we might get this sort of you know, FUD, FOMO, whatever you want to call it, like a lot of ranging price action. But due to the fact that this actually, you know, is well supported, right? Then it makes me think that we might be having a little bit of a rally for the next couple of weeks. How big of a rally? Who knows? I don't think we are ready there yet for the whole speculative run and stuff like that. But it doesn't mean that we can actually capitulate on some positions, getting some other ones, and actually get some really good leverage positions on now. So that's where I'm at the moment with Ethereum. Will I say my Ethereum? No. If you hold it, I don't think it will get affected. The only downside that you have to be cognizant on is that at some point, it could be this week, it could be in a year, it could be in 10 years, whoever stole the ETH is going to sell it. Are they going to sell it at once? Are they going to sell it? You know, how are they going to cash it out? That's the kind of question that it will affect the market, right? Is that going to wait until Ethereum is up to, I don't know, 5K? Who knows, to start selling it? Who knows? That's the kind of uncertainty that we are, okay? Which, by the way, if we go back to Arkham, okay, there is someone that created a dashboard, right, of the Bybit hacker. So this is the things that you can actually do on chain and track every single wallet that is on chain, which is pretty much everybody. And there is a lot of eyes on here. So, right. So obviously, is this like, whoever hack this, are they going to try to sell the ETH? They're going to mask it. They're going to, I don't know who put it, but there is a lot of eyes on this. Okay. So with that being said, I think we have a possibility, right? Yeah, we have Tornado Cash as well. I don't know if people are aware how that works, but then there's a lot of ways that you can actually, you know, mask that out. So when that selling, like when is that sale is going to happen? Who knows? But there is a lot of important players in the market trying to hold, you know, Ethereum, the price, and everything like that. So that's kind of the full picture to see, should I long, should I go short, should I not do anything? So technically, with all the positions that we have on my spot, I'm holding. I'm not in a rush of actually just selling it. But I'm actually looking to go into some longs and perhaps short some stuff as well in terms of perps. I'm gonna go through the charts. So yeah, that's kind of something that I want to show you in terms of what you could use, you know, what type of tools are out there to track real balances on exchanges, on wallets, and things like that. And it's very, very powerful. So, and also you could combine this with Velo. I think you guys are familiar with Velo and what's happening with Velo. So on Velo data, obviously for the past day, you can actually start seeing where the volume of the 24, like the ETH 24 hours volume is at the moment. And this is something that I've been been playing my trading plan for this week, and what I think could be good plays, I will be again decentralized exchanges. So things like DYDX, Hyperliquid, you know, that are non-centralized exchanges. I think might benefit from this news, because obviously think about it from the perspective that if you have your money in a centralized exchanges and you want to move it out, the easiest thing is to move it out into either a cold wallet, or if you want to trade it, you want to trade it into a decentralized sort of platform, right? And that's what hyperliquid basically provides to the market, right? So it's quite interesting how this could actually play out. So I'm keeping track of these volumes, but you can actually see that the volume on Bybit dropped quite a bit in terms of ETH. This is coin by coin basis. Okay, that doesn't mean that Bybit is going down. I don't think it's going down. It's one of the, you know, if we look at Bitcoin here, right, it's one of the biggest exchanges there, but OKX is actually right there. So these three are the biggest sort of exchanges in terms of volume, right? Binance, Bybit, and OKX, right? You can actually see it right here. So yeah, that's kind of, let's go through some question. What is not even on the list? Interesting. Why? I have no idea why DYDX is not even on this list yet. The volume on DYDX is not that big. So Hyperliquid came in pretty strong, right? And I will do some more research in terms of all the volumes and put it in here. There is one tool that we can use, but yeah, I'll do it for tomorrow, guys. So I'll put it in my list. Let me just put it in my list here. All right. So with that being said, let's go through the, yep.
The second, Maurizio. Perry, pack it in the chat, okay? This is nonsense. Just nonsense, and pack it in. Otherwise, I'm just going to kick you off the course.
Fair enough, fair enough. All right, so what do we have here? Okay, perfect. So what I'm looking for, okay? So I think, if we go through the whole market, right? Let's go through. First of all, let's have a look at the S&P 500. So S&P, right, took a little bit of a plunge, right? This doesn't help Bitcoin, man. And on top of that, we have all those news and we have sort of market recovery, but that doesn't mean that this is bearish. If we look at this S&P 500, right? It was an all-time highs just a few days ago. Obviously, this is just the fact of stop losses, or now is this level going to hold? But it looks pretty okay, even though it has a good it had a good dump here. Market looks pretty bullish, right? Do you let me ask you guys, what do you guys think about the S&P 500? Is this a great chart? Is this a bad chart? Do you think this is done? What do you guys think about this? Equities, all equities, how does it look? Yeah, looks good. Looks good. Before there was a question here in terms of Coinbase. How about Coinbase? Coinbase does not have pair futures. Okay, so what we're looking on that volume is a lot of pair futures. So a lot of the traders use pair futures. So to analyze spot volume on different exchanges, Coinbase will be a big factor of it, which I'll give you guys the tool tomorrow. I'll definitely is in outcome in terms of all the spot volume. So we'll go for it. So with that being said, markets look pretty good. Germany looks good. Japan, as always, is in ranging. It's been ranging since the interest fiasco thing, which happened here on last year. So I'm not saying that it could bottom here, but it looks good for a bottom. And obviously, if we go to what my preferred options might be, right, for a good positions, especially on leverage. So I think my best options could be Hype. So Hype is still, it didn't open pretty good this morning, but I'm looking to see if these levels hold here. And if they do, and we have market recovery in terms of Bitcoin, Ethereum, everything comes back, I think this could be a really good candidate for a good leverage long. Same thing at DYDX, right? So DYDX is not, it is kind of well supported in this area, and this one has been pretty beaten down. So this is in, the ones that you wanna high risk, high reward, you could definitely put a position here, put a stop loss. That's an easy invalidation if it keeps continue down. But on recovery, I think this could actually do well, same as Drift. But Drift, we had a pretty good trade on Drift a while back, but the liquidity on Drift is pretty shit at the moment. So for those ones that don't know what Drift is, it's an exchange. It's a perpetual, think about it from the same perspective of Hyperliquid, but on Solana. Right, you can actually do on the Solana network. So Drift, you can actually do any perpetual trading, but using the Solana network. But the liquidity is pretty freaking horrible. However, I'm having the list here because it looks like it could be potential to the upside, right? Now, something to be cognizant on, and I've been saying for the past week the same thing, is that if we go into any trading, I think it'll be very short time trading. You know what I mean? It's not, we could get positioned for long term around these levels here, but there will be better, better trades. There will be some tokens like INA or tokens like LDO or Agent that you can actually get positioned for long term. But there will be some trades like IP or Vera that I did talk about it last week that you can get some quick in and out. You know what I mean? And those are the ones that I don't think I will be holding for a long time. So I'll go through the charts on those ones. So yeah, I'll cover that. Okay, so that's basically what I'm looking at. So here's my plan. Like if we have a lot of strength on Ethereum, so if Ethereum and Bitcoin starts coming back this week, which let's go through it, and it looks like let's go through ETH, right? Which it looks pretty sustained here. Then my plays, the ones that I'm looking at to go long is to some betas on Ethereum. So things like LDO, you guys know that I've been tracking LDO for a while. So LDO, it could be a really good beta play for Ethereum. We have Agent as well. We do hold a little bit on the spot portfolio, but I'm going to be either adding more and doing some leverage stuff on Ethereum strength. And OP, I'm still looking to get long on OP. So OP looks pretty sustained. But as you can see from the price action perspective, we are in this range on OP, right? So last week he tried to break that level, but the good thing is holding pretty good to 1.8. So I think there could be a high possibility that on the breaker here, we could definitely go up to these levels here at 1.6. So that gives you a really, really good risk reward. And this one in particular might be a little bit like a midterm hold. There is a lot of on-chain activity happening on this one, so I'm looking at that one pretty close. And Say, so those so Say, I did talk about it on Friday. So I was going to start buying Say on Friday, but the fact that start seeing a lot of the Bybit stuff happening, so I just rather wait. But the fact that it's holding pretty well, I think Say could actually do pretty well. Could actually come back again. And why? Because Say was bought by the World Liberty Fund. So Say and Move, they started positions on Move. And Say Move, I don't like it, to be honest, in terms of the price action. It looks pretty. I'll just make this bigger. Sorry that I'm in my laptop at the moment. So my favorite is Say. So those are my plays for this week. Also, I'm looking very closely to IP and Vera. So IP, I'm actually looking for a short. Probably what I'm looking for is for IP to reach these highs again and then short it, right? And Vera, the same deal. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like this is kind of what I have for this week after, what happened with Bybit and things like that. So it's not one of those weeks that I will be actively trading, but I will be actively looking at the market, and on strength, I'll definitely want to go in. So it's something like I'm very, very cautious of it. So yeah, guys, so that's where I'm at. So another good things that might happen this week is that obviously Michael Saylor will announce how much buying of Bitcoin they're going to, they started buying, and they always buy on something that's called TWAP, which is time weight volume. So they don't sort of start buying little bits, and usually he announces on Mondays how much they bought. So yeah, so that could actually give us a really good indication of how much money he has left, or if he bought, because I think he was raising like $2 billion to actually buy, and if he bought the whole amount, then obviously it's not much upside. But if he bought, let's say, I don't know, a mil, or yeah, then you still have upside. Then he's gonna keep buying. So that could give you a really good sustainability on Bitcoin, at least in the 2 or 3 weeks time frame sort of deal. So that's what I'm looking at as well pretty closely. So let's go through some questions. So what do you think about Retardio? Let's have a look at Retardio. Retardio is, yeah, like Ian mentioned, Retardio is a, once Solana comes back, Retardio is gonna go nuts, definitely. Let's have a look at the charts in Retardio. I think I'll have it. Yeah, this one. Okay. So Retardio is holding pretty well on these levels here, technically speaking, right? The interesting thing is what I see last week, a lot of these on-chain charts, let me just make this bigger. A lot of these charts last week, we start to seeing these bumps. So that's why, last week, things started to getting pretty cool, like especially towards the end of the week. Unfortunately, we have this Bybit news thing. Not only Bybit news thing, we also have this news about like a new coronavirus with pandemic potential. So obviously a bunch of different shit's going on. So once those news are over, and if we don't have a lot of selling power, I think we'll definitely come back. It could be a really this week's I'll be glued into the markets because it could give us a really, really good potential entries. That's my take so far. It might not, but I'll be really, really conscious about it. Okay. We have another question here. Is there a swap exchange that you can do swap on? Yeah, Hyperliquid. You can actually program it on Hyperliquid. So Hyperliquid will allow you to do that. You could do it on Bybit as well, I believe so. Not entirely sure. But yeah, Hyperliquid definitely you can do it. Okay, that's one there. So let's go through Sol. Let's go to Solana. Let's have a look at Solana. Yeah, Solana looks horrible, man. Like it looks pretty horrible, but okay. If we look this from the weekly perspective, I did talk about it last week, right? In terms of going long on Solana. And where do I want to go long? Which, by the way, we went long here at 95. This level here, as you can see, just make this bigger, okay? This level here, which is the between 158 and 164, they could be really good buys in a way, if the market holds. Why? Because there's a lot of liquidity right here, okay? Now, on Ethereum strength and Bitcoin strength, definitely this will be the place to buy. It's pretty tricky because markets could actually just drop and then do the weak things, you know what I mean? Like come down quite hard. So obviously, how do you play it? Obviously, doing leverage is pretty tough, pretty tough. But if we start buying, I'm doing like spot buys around here, and if it comes back, or you can buy here, like DCA in a way, I think that we're still holding our position on Sol, so it's definitely could be a really good buy for it. Okay. Cerebro, deep on A116. Yes, A116, let's go through it. A116 said, yes, definitely I'm in still, right? And let's go through it. Let's have a look here. Okay, so this is the weekly chart. And let's have a look at the daily to see the history of it. Okay, so A116, so obviously still is one of, this is so far, it's one of the leaders on the AI aging sort of deal. I do think that at least are going to come back to at least this level, right? Once, and that was sort of proven back here when we start sort of doing the short squeezes and things. We started buying here. I might add a little bit more, but then I'm not, put it this way, not putting a lot of hope on this. That is going to come back to $1, $2, but at least we're going to have a little bit of a recovery. That's why my target is not that big. You know what I mean? Like maybe we can take 50% here, and then that's basically where I'm, you know what I mean? Don't know if this AI agent will come back fully in terms of narrative, but being that this was the leader of it, there is a highly likelihood, and you can see that on any bounce, this one comes back strong. So that's kind of the take in terms of the price action from AI16. Cerebro, I made pace with Cerebro. Could come back, but don't know. Like on this one, I wouldn't go in now. Definitely no. I wouldn't add more. But I'm still, like, if you look at this from the smaller time perspective, it looks like every time that hits a bottom, it comes back. But the on-chain metrics on this one doesn't look pretty sustainable, right? So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at in those two. Which one is another question? All right, another question. Any thoughts on PopCat? So PopCat, let's have a look. PopCat, it was looking pretty good, yeah. Last week. So last week definitely started the recovery. This level is not holding here. On the break of this level, I think we could definitely see a huge upside on PopCat. But the thing on memes at the moment is all the memes that we actually have on the spot. Memes, I think they're gonna, the narrative is not there yet, right? It's not like memes comes back when there's a lot of liquidity in the market, when it's a lot of hype, when it's a lot of different things. So I'm not in a rush to add more into these things. Let's see how PopCat behaves, but the fact that we do have a lot of more meme coins in the market, like it just makes it really, really hard to actually do a huge comeback. I will say we'll come back. How far? You know what I mean? Like, let's go through the daily. Let's zoom out. Okay, so on relief rallies, right? Maybe there's a good idea to start analyzing how the meme will work, and maybe we start de-risking on memes. But will this actually will come back to all-time highs? That's kind of the question that we don't know. There's so many tokens at the moment that are fighting for liquidity, that's kind of what I'm playing, and this is kind of the game that I will be playing for the next couple of weeks, like a small, like if we start buying thing here, we'll definitely start getting out on these sort of pumps and things like that. So that's kind of some thoughts on INA. Yeah, INA definitely it is on the long-term perspective. So INA has always been on a long-term perspective. INA looks pretty good. However, I mean, there was, yeah, I've been tracking INA because, oh, there you go, right here. So INA, they had a bunch of ETH staked with Bybit. So they just sort of released this, in terms of, if you guys know how INA works, you know, INA has a lot of, in order to balance. So INA is the governance token for USDE, right? So in order to maintain the USDE parity, there is a lot of positions that they need to take on the paired market, right? And then holding, and that's how they stabilize the USDE. So I'm keeping track on this. It still looks good, right? But depends on how the Bybit start handling the hack. They could be INA could be affected long term, but so far so good. Like I'm just following this one, and it's looking pretty good so far so good in terms of how they balance in their position. So yeah, Pith, yeah, Pith Network. Let's have a look at Pith Network, and haven't looked at one for a while. Let's have a look. Yeah, so Pith, let's go with the weekly first. You guys know what I do as well. So weekly, and looks pretty big, definitely. It looks pretty big, but for the last 2 weeks, definitely is looking for an upside, right? So things to look at, things, you know, there's several things to look when price comes back, right? One is, are all these things are going to go to all-time highs, or will it be safer trade if I actually do a leverage trade and actually get a little bit of money out of this, and you know, out of this pump? We're going to have a relief or a mean reversion trade, especially on all these all the ones that actually got a little bit of momentum last time. So this one doesn't look bad. Like, doesn't look bad. It's actually very well deviated from the weekly lows right here, as you can actually see. So we can actually aim up to this level here if it comes back on at least onto the next level of liquidity, which is around, yeah, 0.31. So is that worth to take? So that's kind of the things that you need to ask. Is that a really good risk reward, you know, trade? So yeah, that's an interesting, this one could definitely, I could definitely see this one played out, like on reclaim on this. It could actually go to this level quickly, and then even it can actually retest the 0.5 again. So yeah, this is kind of what I'm saying is a traders market, right? So it's not like long-term holds at the moment, but that doesn't mean that we can start sort of positioning on some stuff that I'm seeing as we go. So I think that's it, guys. I think yeah, it's been an interesting weekend. So yeah, unfortunately, don't have much diamond hands. Yeah, fair enough, fair enough.
Nice. That was a great session today, Maurizio. Thank you for going through all the questions. I'll see you next week.
Yeah. Oh, hold on. I have one more, because Susie, yeah, mentioned and I do want to talk about because this is our greatest trade. Like, we went in a while back on but let me, all right, okay, this is one of the greatest trades that we've done among all. So this is already like 500% from our entry. So went 2 sizes here. We already took some profit on this one. Okay, where am I on I'm very close to start closing either the full position. This is one of the things, at least take some profits on right? If you are on it, right? Why? There is, you know, these price pumps are usually manufactured in a way that a lot of people are shorting this thing. Why? It's a very, very sort of juicy short, right? But there's been a lot of pressure to liquidate those shorts. So every time that someone shorts or big players short these things, you know, the more they short it and the more they squeeze it up, the more they're gonna squeeze it up. This is not a sustainable price action, I will say, because at some point, right, this is not because the project is good. This is not because and on the project is amazing, to be honest. The project is actually pretty good in terms of RWAs and all the stuff that they're doing, but the price action is being generated by short squeezes in a way. Okay, so at some point, shorts are like the longs are going to give up. You know what I mean? How far are they? I don't know, man. Or because this is a higher valuation for what they are in terms of longer term. So I'm definitely thinking of taking another piece of profit on this one, right? And then so have that in mind if you're in home, right? It's not a bad idea to take some profits on it. Okay. Oh yeah. Thanks, Todd. That's a really great idea. Let's have a look in there and Velo data right here. Let's put it in Velo and I think we'll finish with that. There you go. Fuck, man. Yeah, interesting. Look at this. Just close this so it makes it a little bit more. Let's look it up in 30 minutes just to, all right. Yeah, man, I think yeah, you can actually see what's going on here, right? So great. Yeah, exactly what. Thank you, Todd, for reminding me to put this up. Yeah, you can actually see bam, 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 bam. You see all the positions getting closed up and bang, you get a massive, massive, massive pump here. Let's look at the liquidations and you will see what I mean. Aggregated liquidations. There you go. Okay. So liquidations to the upside. So this is kind of being artificially made, right? It's not sort of like, when you get a good project, then you get like organic price action that people buy and sell and keeps buying, keeps trending up. So that's what I say. I think this could get higher, man. Definitely could get higher, but it's getting to a point that is pretty sort of don't know. So I'll be taking half profits on this, by the way, guys. So yeah, if you hold that could be a really good idea. Or you can just move the stop loss at it, or put a stop loss, depends on what your entry was. And if you never hit the stop loss, then that's fine. So that's another way to play it. So yeah. So I think that's it. That was the last one. That's had on my list here. So yeah.
Awesome. Thanks a lot, everyone. See you next
All
week.
right, guys. Have a good one.